Hey there, welcome to Colston River Retreat. I'll be your host, John. My son's been asking me a long time to start a YouTube channel to talk about what we do on the property, and I've been hesitant to do that. Probably go into that later, but I've been hesitant to do that for a long time. But I've been watching a bunch of other YouTube videos, learning about projects that I'll be doing in the future on this property, and thought, you know what, maybe somebody can learn from some of my experiences and certainly a lot of my mistakes, and maybe it's worthwhile to create some content. So we're going to do this as a test run and see what the feedback is and see if it's worth continuing forward. So hopefully this will be the first of many, but we'll see. So we call it Colston River Retreat. That's the name I gave it. It's about 100 acres of property on the Holston River. That's with an H, not a C. But we call it the Colston River Retreat. And we've had this property for about 4 years. We can go into more detail on that later, but I'll talk a little bit more about it in a minute. But want to introduce you to the property. So I'll show you the first view that we got on the property that really made us decide that, you know, this is where we wanted to make our forever property. So this is the view. So obviously that's a gorgeous view. The cross is there from my son's wedding, and we're going to leave it on the property and stay here for now, maybe use it in some other areas for other projects. But this obviously wasn't that manicured when we bought the property. We'll show you a video of that at a later time. But the view of this river is just amazing. You got the hayfield across the way. There's actually an island in the middle of the river, and just beautiful. We decided that we wanted to move out of the Appalachian Mountains, which we're still technically in that area, but the community we're in, we're extremely mountainous, and we didn't have any flat ground, couldn't really get out and do anything. And I really wanted to be on water, either a lake, pond, river, something like that. Loved the water. And so we started looking for property about 5 years ago. And so just to tell you a little bit about the history of this property, we originally looked at it, I guess just to tell you where we're at. We're in East Tennessee, but we looked at the property. My wife loves looking on those real estate websites, and she found this property that was listed. It was supposed to be like 30 acres, and you know, there's another property, I guess, contiguous to it that was like 33 acres. So we said, hey, let's go down and take a look at it. And really, you couldn't see much from the pictures other than woods, and we knew it was on the river. So we drove down here, and I actually have that as a video on a phone that I'll post later that you can see. But drove down and looked at the property, and we're just completely overwhelmed by how beautiful it was. The giant mature trees, and really looked like you were driving into a national park. And we were really smitten with it, I guess is maybe a word to say. But we decided that we really wanted to move in this direction and start looking at this property. And turns out that it was 3 spots or 3 tracts of land that were about 33 acres each, making up a total of 100 acres. And when we got down to talking about purchasing it, there was no way to purchase one of those tracts. I mean, the road that comes in crosses all 3 properties. Any one of them is really not sufficient with the other ones to stand alone. So, and the person who was selling it had really no desire to sell them individually. So we weren't looking for that much land. That's probably why they had it listed it that way, because not many people want to go buy 100 acres of forest if you're not going to, you know, do something productive with it. And so, but once we were got their hooks in us, we really couldn't turn away, and we decided to go ahead and bite the bullet and buy the whole 100 acres. So that's been about 4 years ago. In future videos, I'll certainly go through the history of the property and kind of all the things that we've done. But just to give you an idea about what the status of the property was when we bought it, it had basically a road from the front to the back. It's a very long, narrow piece of property. It's about a mile from the main road to the river, which is where we're at the far end of the property. and it was mostly probably a dirt path with some gravel areas, but really unimproved. And a lot of our first year was spent working on the road. My dad came in and we learned how to move gravel. I learned how, he already knew, but learned how to use a tractor, and we had to buy a tractor. Move gravel and really improve the road so we could get back and forth pretty good. I'll definitely have a longer video about that. I've learned so much about making a road and gravel and a lot of the mistakes along the way. But there was no power, no water, no septic. When we bought the property, we fully intended on living on the property, leaving it as a legacy for our family, making it a permanent location. Didn't really have a lot of other specific future plans. Kind of thought I might raise some beef cows one day just for the family, not to sell or anything, but raise some cows. Probably not going to do that. We'll see. Thought about doing some other events on the property when we bought it. Heck, maybe make it where our whole family moves here. We would love for other family members to join us one day on the property and make a little complex, compound, whatever you want to call it, for the family. But anyways, primarily intended to live on it. Certainly we'll spend a lot of time talking about the future events. That's kind of why I've started thinking about making this channel, is to talk about the projects that we're going to do in the future and kind of use this as a platform to show the process of doing those things and positives and negatives, and in case somebody else wants to do some of the same things in the future. So I guess I should probably tell you a little bit about me and my family. So my name is John. You can call me John. JB. At work, I'm called Colston. You can call me the Hammer. I'm just kidding. Nobody calls me the Hammer. My wife and I were talking the other day and somehow came up with a discussion about like nicknames or names you would have given yourself or your wrestling name or something. And I told her that I'd always thought that if I had to give myself a nickname, it'd be the Hammer. And she just died. I guess I had never told her that before. Where that came from, I don't know. I used to be a carpenter in a previous life, and so maybe it's from that. Who knows? But don't call me the Hammer. So I'm married. My wife is Leslie. We've been married over 27 years. So you might be saying, what'd you do? Get married when you're like 4 or something? I know, it's crazy. But we've been married quite a long time, and we have 2 adult kids. My son is married, and they're newly married, which is why that cross is here and why all this grass is green. We'll certainly spend some time talking about that in the future. That's some great content right there, how not to grow grass. And I could probably make 4 or 5 episodes on how not to grow grass. So I have a wonderful daughter-in-law, and then I also have a daughter who's graduated, and depending on how much they want to be involved, we'll include them in these videos in the future. My father-in-law lives on the front of the property, so we do have a house on the front of the property near the main road. So technically, according to the rules that my wife established when we bought the property, I had to have a house on the property within 3 years. Done. It's not our house, but it is a house. We currently live in a camper, or if you want to say a van, down by the river, until we build a house, which, depending on how long we do this channel, maybe we can show you the process of building a house. We have had a lot of help from a lot of family. So in case I act like I do everything here, this is a combined effort from all the family, and my parents, my wife's parents, extended family or kids. And so it is absolutely a group effort to do anything like this. I will tell you that, as you could tell by the cross, that I'm a Christian, and my faith plays a strong role in my whole life and decisions that we make and day-to-day living. And so that will come into this podcast or YouTube video, or how we content that we decide to do with it. But we believe pretty strongly in our faith, and feel very blessed to have this property. I did want to say that I think this could come off as boastful or you know, kind of showing the things that we have in the property, and I certainly never intend that to be, you know, more just showing how blessed we are and how God's using us and using our property, hopefully, to bless other people. We do have plans to do some events where we'll use them as money-making ventures, and some that will be more community service, more for giving back to the community, and maybe some others that will actually be fundraising or charitable events. So hopefully funny along the way. So a little funny, I was looking ahead and saw a cat walk out from the little creek. That is Rose. So we can have some videos on the cats later. We have 7 cats who live with us on the property. Well, technically 8. Pepper lives up front. We have a golden doodle named Dude. We're very creative when it comes to naming things. So we have 2 creeks on the property. One that's kind of rain dependent, weather dependent, which is this one. So it feeds into the river there. And then we have a spring-fed creek on the other side that we'll definitely spend some time looking at. It's my favorite part of the property. It's beautiful. It is called Stinking Creek. In some references and other, it's called Sinking Creek. So we're coming on close to 12 minutes for this first video, so I don't want to go too long in our introduction. My goal would probably be to make, you know, videos that are around 10 to 15 minutes, no longer than that, just to keep them short and interesting, and hopefully, you know, kind of share some of our experience. So if you're enjoying it and you want to see more, let me know. Bye.